Now, here's a voice you haven't heard in a while, Jerry Lubin. We've got Jerry Goodwin on the line from Boston. Hi, Jerry.
Gentlemen.
How are you today?
I'm just fine. Listening to Mike Gormley for those few minutes here was wonderful. Catfish, my most marvelous memory of one of the Catfish tunes, my favorite tune was 300-Pound Fat Mama.
Mm-hmm. And he was the 300-pound Big Daddy. Catfish was.
Big, there's no doubt of that. I hear nothing but silence. Every time I hear silence, I think, oh, we've lost our line to Jerry Goodwin. Are you there, Jerry?
Hear me?
I can just barely hear you.
Okay, well, there was a bit of some kind of a weird sound on the line.
Yeah.
Oh, you sound great now.
Well, I can hear you fine, too.
I understand that, like Larry Miller, who we talked to in the first hour, you are now teaching radio broadcasting to the neophytes of your area.
Yes, indeed. The associate professorship, if you will.
Are you at the same school?
That weird master's degree I got at the University of Detroit in religious studies finally came in handy.
Mm-hmm. Do you broadcast at all?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm not doing shows, but I'm I'm producing for the Carter Radio Network, and it's about 7 stations here in New England, but also up on the satellite, and so feed a lot of stations around the country.
What kind of programs are you producing, Jerry?
Well, I'm producing probably one of the longest cooking shows in the country. It's been on now. This is the 31st year. It's called the Yankee Kitchen, and it's one of those really wonderful old-fashioned recipe shows. You know, where the wonderful ladies call and they give the recipes, and it's just far out. It's been on, like I say, for 31 years, and so I produced that show, and I produce a holistic health call-in program, and a couple of religious, live call-in kinds of religious shows. So I'm doing that kind of weird thing, which is very nice, though. I enjoy it, and teaching.
Weren't you on WKNR in Detroit before you joined us at ABX?
Oh, indeed. I was on for 5 years on the AM side for 5 years, and then I took about a year off and went into the record business. I was a promo man for a while, for about 7 or 8 months, and I had all this product that there was no place to get played. And so I went back to KNR and talked my way into getting on the FM side at night for 5 hours, along with Russ Gibb and Danny Carlisle and John Small. We're all on that station, and started playing records there, playing all this stuff that there was no outlet. And then, of course, ABX came on the air. And the nice thing about ABX was they were stereo. KNR-FM was stereo.
That's right. Progressive rock.
Gee, I don't know how long I was on the FM side, but then I got the call from ABX and was just thrilled to death to come to work there, I'll tell you.
The thing that I always remember about you, Jerry Goodwin, is that you had that book. I can't remember who the author was, the book called Possum's Book of Old Cats.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And who was the author?
You got me now, pal.
T.S. Eliot.
Sue Whitehall says T.S. Eliot, and I'm going to believe she's right.
Those are T.S. Eliot's poems.
And you used to show me this book and say, I think there's something here. We could, there might be a radio show, or there might be something here. And I always, failed to see the benefit. But, of course, the musical Cats, now probably playing on a dozen stages all over the world, is based on that book. So you were prescient.
Oh, man, isn't that amazing? I amazed myself. I actually did something with that, David. When I got here to Boston, I was on WBCN here in Boston, which is comparable to ABX, and is still on the air, functioning big time.
Yeah, I was supposed to go on that station before ABX, but it didn't work out.
Oh, really? And anyway, I did a character called the Duke of Madness on BCN for 5 years as an overnight thing, and I brought radio drama into it and everything, and good, just very bizarre rock and roll theater of the mind. And actually produced a couple of those cat stories with voices and sound effects and stuff. So.
Is this before the Cats Broadway show?
No, I think it was probably during the during the run. It probably, matter of fact, probably the Broadway show probably reminded me of it, and I went back and got that book, you know.
Yeah, how about Barrington Bunny? Did he get on the air in Boston as well?
Oh, no, I had to kill off old Barrington Bunny, man.
Thank God for that. I was tired of Barrington Bunny, but I always enjoyed your company and your odd, persuasive view of the situation and the scene.
Jerry, I want to thank you. I'll never forget that it was your help that got me involved in the radio business.
Well, you know, that's right.
Back in the mid-'60s.
Yeah, Jerry. You know, I know a lot of people don't know that, but Lubin and I met up when I was on KNR-AM, and weren't you going to Wayne State?
Yeah.
You came there and you were doing some kind of a paper?
Well, yes. I had been in the Army for 4 years, and I got out and I went to school. I sat around for a while not knowing what to do, and then GI Bill, I went to Wayne State for a couple of years, and I was taking a class, and I wrote a paper on advertising on the radio, which was, I picked that just so I could get into a radio station and talk to you and Swing and Sweeney and whoever else I talked to. Then we hung out a little bit, and I remember going to record hops and church basements and KFC clubs.
You do my spinning for me on the hops with and the MC5 was our hop band. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Jerry Lubin was your spin boy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is going way back.
And then I started teaching a class at the old Electronic Institute of Technology.
EIT.
Yeah.
Everybody here remember EIT ads on the radio? It was like Evelyn Woods ads now.
Oh, yeah.
It was on Woodward in an old Motown building.
Well, actually, Motown came after it, man, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. I don't recall. But you're right. There was the old Motown building. And Jerry was, took a couple of classes with me. We really kind of hung out and got to be good friends. Was I on your wedding, Jerry?
Was it what?
Was I on your wedding, lady?
Absolutely. I have pictures of you and Lynn.
Right, I thought so. I was thinking about that.
Absolutely. How's Robin, by the way?
Robin is living in Amarillo, Texas, and, by the way, works for the post office.
Excellent.
She's one of the more gruntled people I've known.
As I do. I have a son who lives in Texas also. Adam is living in Houston. He went to school in Austin, and he's now working in Houston.
I have to break into this here, Jerry. Can we keep you on the phone?
Oh, I'd love to. This is delightful.
All right, we're going to pause in our reminiscences, but we'll get back to you. We want to thank Specs Howard Broadcasting for supplying WXYT and this Underground Overview program with special audio equipment that enabled us to transfer some of the very old tapes to a format that we could air here tonight. Also, in 1972, the state of Michigan changed the age of majority to 18. It was changed back to 21 in 1976, but for a while there you could drink when you were 18. And here are a few advertisements from those days.
Three Frog Beer has a special message for the new generation of beer drinkers who can now drink beer at the age of 18. Listen, if you're over 18 and under 21, and you've been wanting to get out and have a beer and boogie a little bit but don't know one place from another, we'd like to tell you about a place called the Railroad Crossing. The Railroad Crossing has good food featuring some great pizza and beer and wine, including some fine imported beers, and you can dance to the music of the mongoose. Now that you're officially a grown-up, get out and play with the big kids at the Railroad Crossing. It's on 8 Mile Road in Sherwood between Mound and Van Dyke. They're open nightly until 2. Check stores for availability.
An underground overview of the 60s on Detroit's talk station, AM 1270 WXYT, with your hosts, Jerry Lubin and Dave Dixon.
Yes, I'm the Dave Dixon person. Jerry Lubin is right here. If you want to be part of our program, as with any show on WXYT, Detroit's talk radio station, you may call 559-1270, the dial position. I saw a note here on the TV screen. They've got a TV monitor that tells us about the calls. The Machine Gun Thompson from the MC5 was on the line, but he's not on there anymore. So I don't know if he gave up or if we moved on to another subject from the one he wanted to talk about. I don't know. Jerry Goodwin, are you still with us?
Yes, sir, I certainly am. Sorry to hear about the Machine Gun.
Yeah. Well, his name appeared tantalizingly on the monitor, but he's not here.
I had a wonderful relationship with the MC5 from the very early days of their career, when they were just this really hot, sizzling cover band doing Stones tunes and just good, funky rock and roll, rhythm and blues rock and roll stuff. And we used to use them at my hops, as a KNR AM. Do 20 minutes, they do 20 minutes, I do 20 minutes of records, they do 20 minutes. And it was, as a matter of fact, I'll never forget it, 1966 at Plymouth High School in the gymnasium, that the MC5 that we know and love was born. The very last set of the night, I did the regular announcement. Oh, once again, ladies and gentlemen, here's the MC5. We had about 6,000 people in this gymnasium, man. It was just a hot, steamy place, and all of a sudden, Wayne Kramer lets out one of these monster chords and starts throwing his guitar toward the speakers and getting outrageous feedback. And Freddie Smith joins him, and everybody busted loose in a 20-minute jam that was just unbelievable. And it took about 7 minutes to clear the gym. People were elbowing each other trying to get out of the place, and it was amazing. And I remember sitting in the van after all the equipment is packed up and everything, and chatting as we usually did after one of those gigs, and they said that that they felt that this was the way that they wanted to go, and at that time they called it avant rock, like they felt that they wanted to do avant rock. And just about that time, Russ Gibb came back from San Francisco and called me and said that he had been out there and had been to one of the ballrooms, with all the psychedelic lights and all the, just all the stuff going on, and it just freaked him out, blew his mind. He came back, told me that he had leased the old Grandy Ballroom in Detroit, wanted to know if I wanted to put some money in this thing, which I did. I had about $500, I think it's about all I had at the time to put into it. But at the same time, he said, now I need to find, I'd like to find a band. And I thought, Michael, this is outrageous. This is amazing, man. Because this thing with the MC5 had just, happened, just a few months before. I said, Russ, I'm not sure, but I think this is the band that you want for your house band.
Perfect match.
Unbelievable. And of course, it was, so ironic that they should bust loose at Plymouth High School for the first time.
And this is before the band called Procol Harum became the house band of the Grandy unofficially. The band from Britain came to America, dug the scene so much in Detroit that they got a house here and lived here.
Oh, man.
And wound up appearing at the Grandy about every 3 or 4 weeks. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, but I didn't realize that they had gotten digs close by.
I didn't know that until recently. That was just brought to my attention recently.
Darn, for crying out loud. I knew that Alice Cooper lived around Pontiac there for a while, and did 2 albums while he was in this area. Absolutely.
We have another guest who remembers the MC5 and those Grandy days, and that person came to Detroit, headed for Canada, I think is right, Jeannie. You were Jeannie Johnson when you came to Detroit, and you eventually married Lawrence Pun Plumunden, and a lot of people remember you as Jeannie Plumunden, and now your name is Jeannie Parker, and you're a publisher and a Tai Chi instructor in the area, right?
Yes, hello.
Gotta get closer to the mic than that, I think.
Thanks so much for inviting me on here. This is a wonderful idea.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. Say hi to Jerry Goodwin in Boston.
Yeah, hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Isn't this like a bad acid flashback?
Actually, a good one.
Yes, a good flashback.
Right, in this case, it's good.
Yes.
I feel like I've just stumbled and fallen into a coma here.
You broke the ice, Jerry. Thank you for saying that.
Isn't it amazing how many people are so interested in that era, though?
Oh, well, sure. I think that, why not? I mean, I certainly was, and I certainly am. I think it's just, that was the best, I've been doing radio for a lot of years, and that era for me was just the best.
Well, you're talking about an era when rock bands would move to Detroit. I've heard this from other bands as well. When I was interviewing Led Zeppelin a couple years ago, they spent quite a lot of time here when they were playing the Grandy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is an era in Detroit rock that sadly we haven't seen again.
I remember Dennis Frawley.
He'll be with us later on, by the way.
Oh, great. Where is he living?
Florida, St. Petersburg.
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, give him my very best. Dennis Frawley, I remember, said to me, we stand and a Zeppelin song, either we something. It was a Zeppelin song anyway. And Dennis looked at me and he said, "Well, wow." He says, I mean, do you think it'd be darndest thing when they start looking at rock and roll and the heyday of rock and roll being this band, wouldn't you say? And I stupidly said, "Yeah, Dennis." Boy, they showed us.
Yeah, they sure did.
So we have a listener on line 2 that wants to ask. It says here wants to ask Jerry a question. A comment. Go ahead. That's your comment.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Get off the air. Get off the air. Get off the air.
Oh.
You know, one of the things I remember, and I wish we had tapes of, David. I wish there were tapes around. When we did the comic strips.
Yes.
You recall that?
Yes, Larry Monroe, of course, was the captain on that project and probably has the tapes. But we sure put a lot of effort into dramatizing those comic strips.
That was the best fun, I think, that we as a whole staff had. You know, that's really one of the very few times that we as a whole staff got a chance to work together on a project.
Well, you might explain what that whole thing was.
Well, let's see. We were able to get, is it the Free Press? I'm not sure if it would be the Free Press or the News. I'm not sure which. The Sunday strips, the Sunday comic strips, we were able to get a copy of it the Wednesday before the Sunday. So that gave us pretty much Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to produce. And we actually did voices and sound effects and put music to every single comic strip. And so the big deal was to, get up at 10 o'clock on a Sunday and have that cup of coffee and roll that doob and sit down and listen to the comics. And we went through every single strip even the ads. We even did the ads, as I recall. And we were all assigned, I guess, 2 or 3 strips, and we produced them any way we wanted to. We put them in order and then played them back on a Sunday. I remember that project got to be so intense, man. We did,
and that's why we dropped it eventually.
But I think didn't we do about 12 weeks, David?
Yes, I would think 12 or 13 weeks,
exactly.
a quarter, and then we had to evaluate it and said, gee, it's taking so much of our time, and it hasn't drawn a sponsor. Now, here's somebody on the phone in Detroit that wants to say hello to you in Boston, Jerry. Come in, Machine Gun Thompson. Hello. I pressed the button. What more can I do? Hello. I'm not getting... Hello. Thompson.
Good.
Thompson, is the Thompson gunner there?
Is this Jerry Lubin?
This is Dave Dixon.
This is Jerry.
I got Jerry Lubin here. I got Jerry Goodwin here, too.
Jerry Goodwin? Hold on a second. I got to turn my radio down, okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to the radio. It's a delayed version.
It's feedback.
Yeah, delayed version of what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Jerry Goodwin?
How are you?
Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Machine
Hold on. Turn this thing down. Hold on. Please hold on.
He was never technically adept, as I recall.
That's your story. Well, we're holding on here, but we're getting...
You have to understand that I've got about 6 radios in this house.
All of them tuned to 1270.
Jerry Lubin?
Yes.
Jerry Goodwin?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Where are you living?
I'm living in the planned land. It's called Southgate.
Okay.
It's a little suburban place. Little ranch house.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. I have a wife and 47 children.
Good for you, man.
Anyway, okay, here's the deal. You guys fired some questions. Let's liven this radio show up a bit, okay?
Do it.
So far, it's been good. So far, you've interviewed Russ Gibbs' dog. Bark, 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 bark. And we talked to a union organizer named Dave Miller.
Dave Miller, yes.
Oh, we sort of brushed on his wedding. Oh, wasn't that an original wedding? If I remember correctly, they got married naked.
No, afraid not, Dennis.
It wasn't naked?
No.
It wasn't? Really?
Well,
in your dreams.
My memory doesn't serve me too well.
Yeah, I tend to forget things on occasion, but I'm sure I got that one straight.
Okay.
Yes.
There's this new book out called Please Kill Me, The Uncensored Oral History of Punk by Legs McNeil and Gillian McCain.
Heard about it, yes.
It's a good book. I just picked it up today.
Please Kill Me?
Please Kill Me.
Okay, we'll get it.
It's not bad. Pretty good book. And there's also a movie out there called I Shot Andy Warhol.
Yeah, right.
It's got some MC5 in it, does it not?
Yeah, right in the middle. It sort of pops right up. Hello, kick out the jams.
Excellent, excellent.
So anyway,
I still have a wonderful MC5 T-shirt, believe it or not, black T-shirt with a profile of all the guys on it, and it has "Kick Out the Jams" MF on the bottom. And I kind of wear it to school on occasion because we got some young rock and roll punks who think they know what's going on.
Oh, really?
Dennis, when I was working at DET, we got a soundtrack album in the mail to the movie called Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater.
Yeah.
And I saw that there was a remake of Kick Out the Jams.
Bad Brain.
So I took Rob
from New York, right?
I took Rob Tyner to see the press screening of the movie without telling him that the song was in there, and of course he went ape.
By the way, can I take a minute to bless a few souls that we missed?
Absolutely.
You may.
Dennis Frawley and Bob Rudnick. God bless Bob Rudnick.
Yes,
Jesse
absolutely.
Crawford from the MC5.
Well, Dennis will be on the program with us tonight.
I know he's going to come. I know. I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear from him.
Okay.
But this, I just would like to say something. Just for all the people that aren't here, and the people in the radio land, there's a lot of people that have gone through all this work and this ethic, this music, this work ethic, really. And some of them aren't here. Mr. Rob Tyner, Mr. Fred Smith, Mr. Bob Rudnick, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. Oh, let's bring it on home.
On and on.
Jim Morrison.
No, there's a whole lot. There's some fellows that are close to home here.
Yeah.
But I would just like to just put out a moment for all these folks that can't listen to this. This is so beautiful. The fact that you guys are on WXYT, which is a pretty much middle of the road kind of a radio station.
Well, it was until now.
All of a sudden, we took it to where?
Well, isn't that how FM in Detroit started too? Nothing was going on until the freaks took it over, man, and all of a sudden FM became the thing.
Yeah, but I remember in the old days it was Tommy James and the Shondells versus the MC5.
Oh yeah.
Well, we don't want to even think about that.
We all know who won.
Stand by, you guys. We've got to break in here. Our program is a reminiscence of the underground radio days, sort of a WABX radio reunion. We got Dennis Thompson from the MC5, who would rather be called Machine Gun Thompson. That's all right with me. Stay with us, can you, Thompson? Can you stay with us?
Yeah, I will.
And Jerry Goodwin, you stay where you are.
Absolutely.
And you listeners, you leave it parked right there on 1270, because we're going to be back with more of this. Our event tonight is sponsored by Galliana Van Dyke Dodge.
Tire kicking, a time-worn carbine ritual that no one fully understands.
It was neat hearing some of those bits that were dropped in there during the break.
Yes, air checks from the olden days. We heard Dave Marsh in there. And what are we hearing now?
Sounds like Mitch to me.
It is. It's Mitch Ryder and
the Lou Reed tune.
The one that says about the Detroit station.
Well, did the original say Detroit?
No.
No, I think it was modified by Willard, wasn't it?
Yes, and made just for Detroit.
And that was when my boss at Cream managed him, Barry Kramer.
And Dave Marsh, speaking of Cream, Dave Marsh was in that break with a record report for ABX. Sue Whitehall, of course, wrote for Cream back in the days. I remember Barry Kramer, who was the publisher of Cream, called me one day and said, I'm enjoying the station, but I don't like this comedy group, the Firesign Theater. People don't want to hear comedy records on rock and roll radio. And I said, Barry, would you get back to your, go peddle your papers.
We'll take care of the programming.
Yeah.
Dave Marsh also mentioned in his record review the release of the Savage Grace, the first Savage Grace album, which was significant, especially for me as I managed the band at the time. And earlier tonight had a nice chat with Ron Koss, who is, after a while, the Savage Grace moved to California, put out a few albums, and then Ronnie's been back in the area about 10 years, I guess. Hadn't talked to him in a while until about a year ago, and then we had a chat earlier tonight.
Great. Say hi to Gary from Southfield. Gary, you're on Detroit Talk 1270, WXYT. Gary?
I really appreciate the fact that you're doing this. I had a couple of reminiscences, I guess. I'm a little bit, I feel old. I just turned 40 last week, but everybody sitting around the room, I guess, is a little bit older. Remember the days of the Grandies. But I remember hanging out at ABX when they were at 8 and Coolidge and running into people sitting on the lawn outside with Frank Zappa and Kappa and Beefheart and Edgar and Johnny Winter and Patti Smith. Didn't Patti Smith have a fight in the hallway there, I think, with Ted Nugent?
Yes.
Very likely.
One time?
Yeah, that was one of my more famous broadcasting moments.
I think they confronted each other in the hallway, right?
Well, no, it was in the studio, as a matter of fact, and I was interviewing Ted Nugent, and Patty was scheduled for the next hour. We were doing a lot of interviews. It was during the Lunch with Lubin program, and he made some terribly sarcastic, wiseacre remark, which I won't repeat, about Patty. And she came in the studio and she looked him in the face and said, "Get out of here, it's my turn." And he stood up to confront her and she socked him in the belly.
Great.
She actually, with an uppercut to the plexus,
nailed him.
And of course, as crazy as Ted is, he would never hit her, and casually walked out of the room.
He would shoot her with a bow and arrow.
But he wouldn't hit her back. That's right.
We just tried to get on XYT, and Patti Smith's resurrecting her career. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, they're both doing okay in spite of that incident.
Well, and one quick question. Is Mark Perreno going to be on tonight, or has he?
No.
And why not?
Thank you.
We're going to talk next to Mike Franklin, who put together the Motor City Radio reunion in '88.
Hi, Dave.
Mike, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing... It is so much fun listening to you guys.
Thank you.
And I was a punk when I used to listen to ABS.
Yeah, you're still a punk.
You beat me to it.
But I remember the best part of that was the shift change raps between you and Jerry Goodwin.
Oh, man.
And you and Mark Perreno. Those were the greatest.
Dave.
They were too short.
Yes, Jerry Goodwin.
Yes, David. I'm glad he brought that up. I'm sitting here after we chatted, and I knew we were going on. I too recall those changeovers, as we call them, that would last for just forever. It seemed sometimes.
Go on for half an hour.
And some mornings it would be about 2.5 minutes max. We could just see it in each other's eyes. But there was other times that we just sat there and just ranted, and we had a good time, as I recall. I mean, we always had some good comments on those.
We were the forerunners of talk radio, but we didn't know it.
But we didn't know it.
We could also explain that what we're talking about here is that the disc jockey's on the radio and his shift is ending, let's say, at 10 o'clock. The next guy is getting on at 10 o'clock. And in the transition, there will be this conversation that became significant, extended, and some think legendary in broadcasting in Detroit.
Yeah, it was nice that David would come in and pick up my last half hour, and I would pick up his first half hour. So we just in the transition would just be very, very nice, I thought, oftentimes.
What would really be cool is if XYT or some other radio station would give you guys a day to go completely freeform, get everybody from the old ABX days back together.
Jerry will fly you in. Can you be here Wednesday?
This is about as likely as Bill Clinton resigning so he can run against Dole for president.
I think the ratings would be spectacular.
Mike Franklin, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, really.
You guys, keep it up.
All right.
One other wonderful reminiscence, if I may, were those great Sunday free concerts that we threw. Right in between the Ford and the large expressway.
The Tartar Field shows, Jerry. Tartar Field. Don't you remember that? Tartar Field.
Yeah.
He wants you to say it, Jerry.
Say Tartar Field.
Tartar Field, is that it?
Right, the Wayne State Tartars.
Oh, Tartar, that's right.
Yes, not like the sauce.
John in Rochester is on the line here at WXYT. No, he's not on the line. He got tired, and I don't blame him.
That's right, Jerry. You're absolutely right. And such in a really wonderfully funky area that really I thought personified Detroit rock and roll.
That was a series of great shows. It was absolutely free, and all the top bands in the area, which were some of the best bands in the country,
absolutely
were playing free at the show.
If they were in town, they showed up.
Yeah.
You're listening to Detroit's talk radio station. It's 1270 WXYT. And we've got all kinds of people here that are willing to talk to you. Jerry Lubin, Jeannie Parker, Sue Whitehall. Scott Morgan is somewhere in the building. I think he found that Star Delicatessen deli tray that's in the other room, but he'll be back. Is Machine Gun Thompson still on the line with us? Guess not.
So long, Dennis.
But how about Brian Calouette? Brian Calouette, are you there? I guess not. These people we made him wait too long, I think. Maybe we can recontact him because he's got an interesting story to tell. But back to Jerry Goodwin in Boston.
Yes, sir.
You're still there.
Yes, I am. I was listening to the break there and heard you doing the Woodstock ad, and I thought, only on ABX did we do 3-minute spots, man. They bought 60s and we gave them 3 minutes or 2 minutes.
Well, Jerry, you hit on something very special, and that is that we read the commercials often, and generally they're recorded now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a major difference, and it allowed for a little bit of ad-libbing, a little spontaneous.
Absolutely. I think that, that was a nice thing. Not only were we able to be creative with the records because we was all hands-on, we picked our own shows, et cetera, but as you say, even the commercials allowed us to be creative in other ways as well. And there was some very bizarre, things going on. You'd hear rants, with some of the guys on the air, and you'd know that they're hiring a kite. What the hell's going on here with these things?
Jerry, are you serious?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I reveal some? Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't mean to reveal a secret.
John in Rochester is back on the phone. We lost him before. John, you're on Detroit Talk 1270 WXYT. John, Rochester, John.
Mentioned Kite Day, and it was sort of a ABX memory that's kind of precious because I went to a Kite Day and saw Kiss the first time, along with Aerosmith after a Kite Day, and
WABX Kite In at Belle Isle.
It was a fun trip. And then the other memory I had was going to a Bob Marley concert with Santoni towards the end of the ABX days, and sat next to Lubin, who rocked the whole night long, never sat down.
Of course.
Just partied.
Still doing it.
Thanks
Have a good one, guys. Great show.
Thanks, John. Thanks for helping us remember the Kite In. I'd sort of forgotten about that.
Yeah, really.
I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
Do you remember there was some jock, I was in high school at the time and I was listening to you guys, Seaholm High in Birmingham. A friend of mine just reminded me of this. Somebody used to go on the air and say, wherever you are, take your clothes off.
Oh, no, that was our famous Go Naked for ABX, and we announced that we were, on a certain day, we were going to ask everyone to go naked for ABX. Eventually, the station manager, John Detz, got so nervous about it that he insisted that we drop it for a couple days and then say that we had it a couple days back and hope you didn't miss it. So he was afraid that people were going to actually go naked for ABX.
We did.
Yeah, of course. I just assumed that everybody did. I always identified that as a Dan Carlisle concept.
It was.
And I have at home the actual, Dan had somebody make up a woodcut, a block print thing, and it said Go Naked. It was about 4 inches in diameter, circular, with stylized lettering, and it said Go Naked for WABX. And I'd walk around, or Dan would walk around, wherever you'd go, with a stamp pad and this little stamp, and just Go Naked. And it was a matter of, well, we're in the studio now, and now we have no clothes on, and we expect you to be doing the same thing to show your support for this wonderful radio station, WABX.
Exactly. And in my case, I was.
Well, of course. Everybody was.
Okay. You'd shatter my illusions if you weren't. Well, didn't you guys also promote the Love-In, the Belle Isle Love-In?
The Kite In. The Love-In was San Francisco, and I think that the Kite In was a Detroit variation. We had to make it our own.
That's right.
And it was everybody bring your kite to Belle Isle and love one another, brothers and sisters.
Yes. And all the rest of you.
Are you talking about 1967?
Wasn't that the Kite In at Belle Isle?
Well, 67's too early. We didn't start until 68. So 67's too early. 68.
There was a Love-In, right, in 67?
Yes, that was a different deal.
Yeah, I don't think the station was full gear at that particular time for that. Somebody else put that one on.
Jerry, our recollection is that the change in WABX began with John Small in very early 1968.
Yeah.
Then Dan Carlisle and I started in April, I believe, of 1968, and later on that month, or early May, Dave started. And then
May 1st for me.
May 1st, May Day.
I remember it well because it was the first day of that year that you could leave the house in your lightweight jacket instead of the heavy winter jacket. And the weather changed and the radio business changed. It was great. Is Brian Calouette on the line?
Hi.
Brian, how are you?
Good, Dave. How you doing?
Good. This is a thing that'll surprise everybody. Brian Calouette has a business called Sprockets on Biddle in Wyandotte. and you sell ABX Aries T-shirts, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yes, it is. Brian, Jerry Lubin.
Hi, Jerry. How you been?
I'm just fine. How about yourself?
It's good to hear you on the radio again.
It's good to be. Thank you.
I'll bet.
As I understand it, you got a hold of Gary Grimshaw, the great Detroit Grandy artist in San Francisco.
Right.
And arranged to get the rights to the ABX Aries T-shirt design. And you've been printing them and selling them. Do you still have any?
Sure we do. We got quite a few left, actually.
Brian, it was my understanding you actually bought the original artwork. Is that right?
Yeah, we did.
So you can do what you want with it.
Yeah. Well, we did. We made.
Why didn't you start a radio station, Brian?
Pardon me? Maybe we should. I'd like to.
You know, I still have the original, that wonderful calendar that Gary Grimshaw did for us. The great calendar that had the David Stott building
and the car
and the bumper, the car bumper.
Oh, I would give anything to have.
I have that, David. I still have I still have the one of those.
I'll give more.
I never got one, and I always thought that was one of the nicest.
Oh, is that a classic, an absolute classic, up there with all of the wonderful San Francisco mouse posters and stuff. But Grimshaw was really, really good. I really liked him a lot.
I have half that poster. Somebody cut the, somebody figured, well, that year's over. I'll just cut the calendar part off and leave the graphic on top. And so I have half that poster, but better than none at all.
Brian, you don't just sell T-shirts over there. Do you have any of the artwork from the era?
Oh, of course we do. We have, we have current artwork that Gary's been working on, as well as some reprints. We have a few originals from the Grandy days, and also some of the newer artists. Well, Arminsky, and I can't recall some of the other artists' names that are quite prominent right now, but we carry all that stuff.
Brian, do you still have any pictures, or are you talking at all with Lenny Sinclair?
I talked to Lenny yesterday.
And do you have any of her photos?
Right. Yeah, we're doing postcards with Lenny Sinclair, and we also have 2 or 3 T-shirt designs, which we put out last year, an MC5. We put out a Jimi Hendrix, and we put out an Iggy Pop, or Iggy Stooge, rather, when he was still being called Iggy Stooge.
Yep.
And
these are T-shirts made from
photos.
Lenny's photos.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're quite good. She's in New Orleans right now, and she's doing okay. And we just had some more shirts sent down there. She's doing mail order in New Orleans, and we're doing sales out of the store. So it's doing quite good.
This is great. We're going to talk to John Sinclair in New Orleans a little bit later on, but I wanted to say hi to you, Brian, because I know that you're the ABX T-shirt man these days.
Well, we're ABX fans, since day one. Did you get the fax I sent you?
Sure did.
Ah, you're the one.
Yeah.
Great.
I've got that poster on my wall.
You got that.
Glad to have the fax.
Do you see the station license?
Yes, absolutely.
36 kilowatts.
36,000.
36,000.
It's 36 kilo.
36
kilo is 1,000, right?
All right.
Yep. Yeah, it was fine of you to send that stuff to us, and it's delightful that your interest in ABX continues to this day, and that you have those shirts. Well,
it was a fine era, and hopefully something can be done about repeating such a thing. It's very cool, and progressive freeform radio, something that's severely lacking in all markets in this country, specifically Detroit. It's so damn commercial. It's a little spooky,
Now, you could be commercial and still be creative, I think. There's room for both.
Perhaps that's it. The lack of creativity is scary.
Yeah, Brian, I want to, if you don't mind, I want to pump your store for just a minute. But I remember going to a Wyandotte art fair many years ago and wandering around downtown Wyandotte. And
bought a Cannonball Adderley CD.
Absolutely, from... Well, I forget the session that it was at, but I remember being floored because yours was the first store I had ever been in that was CD only. And the second thing, it was you can listen to anything in the store. And that just, back then, I mean, now it's fairly commonplace.
Right, but
back then it was just a knockout. Just, oh, yeah, sure, to open it up. Yeah. It was great. Tell everybody where your store is in Wyandotte.
Okay, well, we're at 2968 Biddle. We're on the corner of Biddle and Elm, and, between Eureka and North Line, right on the river. Downtown Wyandotte.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone number is 284-2212. And there is a Wyandotte Street Fair a month from now. July 17th through the 20th.
All right.
And it's a knockout.
Thanks.
It is. It's a great time.
Thanks, Brian, for being with us. We appreciate your
Dave.
participation, and we want the audience to know we're not partners with you. And we
know that.
We won't earn anything from the sale of the shirts.
No, just enjoy them and wear them.
All right. Pat in Detroit, you're on Detroit Talk 1270 WXYT. Pat, are you there? Pat in Detroit?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. This is great fun. I was just calling to see if maybe...
I know which Pat this is.
Sure. Hi, Jerry.
How are you, Pat?
Okay.
Pasadena. Pat Subpoena.
That's it. I was just wondering how many listeners might remember something you guys did, which was kind of an extension of your radio show, which were the great TV shows, Detroit Tube Works and Live from Earth. In fact, I don't know if Mr. Dixon knows this, but a portion of one of the Tube Works shows with Fleetwood Mac, where he's interviewing Peter Green, was recently shown, of all places, on the Disney Channel.
And I saw it, and I thought, gee, I wonder if I get paid. And I'm still wondering.
But those were some great shows. Where else could you sit down and watch like a whole half hour of John Lee Hooker or other things like that? Those were really great shows. Or if I'm not mistaken, I believe you guys showed the first unedited version of the Doors' Unknown Soldier video.
Yes, we did, and we got in trouble.
Yeah, well, it was pretty intense, I guess, for the time with all the blood flowing and things like that, but nowhere else could you see that stuff, and that was great. Those were great shows, great times.
I'm glad that you reminded us of that most of our work was radio broadcasting, but we did do some television. Scott, were you ever on one of those television shows?
Yeah, I think we were. Was it WTVS? I was just looking at the pictures there.
That's what I remember, that the one called Live from Earth was the TVS thing. The Detroit Tube Works was on WXON.
I think I was on the Tube Works show. They had like a little stage and you played live?
Yeah, I guess. I seem to remember the Rationals were part of it. We always wanted to get as much local talent on as we could. I always thought that was one of the important things about ABX, was that we felt that we needed to support the local bands, and I don't sense that from any of the current rockers.
Well, there's no local video outlet for local music, is there? Or am I missing something?
Oh, well, didn't Russ, I thought some of Uncle Russ's students at Dearborn High had a Cablevision program in the Dearborn area, the Back Porch Video.
I don't get Detroit cable, so I guess maybe there's something I'm not aware of here.
We're going to have to say goodbye to Jerry Goodwin in Boston. Jerry, I know you've got a life, and you've got to get on with it.
Thanks, David. This has been such a pleasure, such a joy to talk to you and talk to Jerry and everyone else.
It's been a treat, Jerry. Good to hear from you.
My pleasure. Detroit is, of course, my second home, since I am a Bostonian originally, and spent 12 years in Detroit, and probably been my most joyous musical years I ever spent was in Detroit. And I miss you all. Thank you very much.
So long,
Thanks for being with us.
And we'll say goodnight to Pat in Detroit. Thank you for participating, Pat. And Elaine in Southfield wants to say hello. Elaine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're on WXYT.
Well, this is great fun. I'm just happy.
Hello? What happened? Did somebody step on the wire? We
lost Elaine.
Did she say something weird and they cut her off? I don't know.
Come on, Elaine.
Maybe if I press her button again, she'll come back. Hello, Elaine? No. Well, okay. I'm new at this. I don't know how to operate these telephones.
Well, we'll rehearse when we do this next year.
I apologize if I've accidentally hung up on somebody. Okay. We'll move on.
I was glad to hear that somebody's showing Lenny's work. Have you guys seen the series of postcards that she did?
No, I haven't, Jeannie.
They're truly wonderful. They really are. They're worth going down there just to see those.
And where do we...